You wouldn't go into a store and try and pay for your goods with a foot. You would pay with cash. And if they did have a foot, people were like, okay, call the cops on this guy. Timer Miller, the bald a-hole here. Probably should have ironed this. I know what the comments do. You just focus on the strangest of things. But I also love the comments because the other day somebody said to me, Simon, have you ever actually done a video talking about how to put on muscle? And I was like, I actually know if I have. And I kind of did a quick scouring through my channel. I couldn't find anything, so I thought, look, it's always good information. Yes, this is more for someone that is just starting out and more of a beginner. Sometimes people are like, it's not hardcore enough. Well, for those people, go and do a squat balancing the bar on your nose. There you go. That's pretty hardcore. Let me know how you get on. Don't ever do that. You'll probably die, and then you'll end up in one of those epic gym fail collection videos on YouTube, and that's not the way you want to go out. But yes, nice and simple. Let's get to it. This is the 10 best ways to build muscle. Number 10 is eat more than what you're doing right now, and if you can, eat multiple times a day. Now, if you sort of see a lot of the more traditional instructions for this, people will say try to eat 5 to 6 times a day, just because, I mean, A, it's better for you in terms of your hunger. If you eat constantly throughout the day, and hunger is this crazy thing, it will speed up your metabolism a little bit, although some people will now debate that, and once again, there's an argument in the comments. But also, if you are going to increase your food, you don't necessarily want to be having 3 massive portions a day, especially when you're first starting out, because it may be a bit intimidating for you. You may look at it like, oh, I don't want to get involved in that. But 9 times out of 10, and again, with all of these tips, make sure that you remember they're specific to you. It's not like a one-stop shop. You may need to tinker it around a little bit. But yeah, 9 times out of 10, people just aren't eating enough. And they're like, why can't I put on weight? Why can't I put on muscle? Because you need to eat more. You just do. Sometimes, and for a lot of people, myself included, you need to be able to put away a lot of food, a lot of nutrients in order to see muscle growth. It's hard to grow muscles. That's the truth of the matter. It's really hard to grow muscles. Again, when I was doing my first bulk years and years ago, I remember having rice and chicken in front of me and pushing rice into my mouth and it just falling back out onto the plate because I just couldn't fit anything else into my stomach. Now, do I think you should do that? No. Am I a buffoon for doing that? Yes. But, you know, eventually I got to where I want to go. So sit down, look at your diet. If you're really not putting on weight and you're really not putting on muscle, keep it as simple as you can. You got to eat more, and you got to try and eat more often. Number 9, tying right into that, is increase your protein. Protein is your building blocks in terms of, you know, building muscle. It just is. If you're not getting enough protein, your body is not going to be able to synthesize for muscle growth, and you're not going to get anywhere. Don't worry about carbs. Don't worry about fats. I mean, you do, of course, have to worry about them, but in terms of building muscle, protein is what you need. You wouldn't go into a store and try and pay for your goods with a foot. You would pay with cash. And if they did have a foot, people were like, okay, call the cops on this guy. Something is going wrong. But cash pays for goods, and protein builds muscle. It's as simple as that. And there are loads of different variables, of course there are, but you need to increase your protein. You just do. That's just the truth of the matter. It doesn't mean you just have to eat chicken all the time or red meat or anything like that. There are loads of different options that you can throw yourself into, whether you're a vegetarian, whether you're a vegan. I mean, it's going to make it a little bit harder, obviously, but you can do it. There's equations out there. Must have talked about this before because I remember talking about it. Anyway, there are equations out there that will, of course, say, oh, you know, take this, take that. The way I would always do it is add a little bit in here, add a little bit in there. Work out how much protein you are obviously taking in and do that for your whole diet. Work out what your calories and your macronutrients are. Look at your protein, look at your progress, and if you don't think you're putting on enough muscle, again, start there. Add some more protein to your diet. And if you really don't want to eat anything more, you can do it in a supplement. You could have a protein shake, but always remember the key in what I just said is supplement. So supplement is an addition. Don't just rely on those drinks if you can possibly help it. Number 8 is increase the volume of your training. I know I've talked about this in other videos, but I mean, if you're a super duper beginner, I actually think going to the gym and only working working a muscle part once a week would be enough. So, you know, a really good standard way to do it would be the classic, right? Chest and tries, back and bis, legs, have a rest, do it all again. Or you can throw shoulders in there, or you can do circuit training if you're really just starting out. My program right now, if you care, is push, pull, legs, rest, push, pull, legs, rest. That's what I do. It works for me. It works for me perfectly. But when you get to a certain point, you know, one of the best bits of information I ever got given, I definitely have talked about this 7,000 times, is train your body parts twice a week. So even if you just want to start again going, you know, back bis, I guess you would do shoulders on a day like that. My point is you do back and bis, you do chest and tries, you do legs, you say you do shoulders. That's 4 days a week. It means you get 3 days off. Great way to start out, but eventually you want to double that volume essentially. So you're working chest twice a week and you're working legs twice a week and you're working back twice a week and so on and so forth. It will absolutely give you muscle gain. It just will. I was always very against that because I thought it was for people who were enhanced, quote unquote, but I got the information, I tried it, I made sure I was smart with everything else I was doing. It is a wonderful thing to do. So there you go. There's a little bit of a more advanced technique should you so wish. Number 7 is get more sleep. Sleep is a terrific, wonderful thing where your body rests and your body recovers and allows you to go again the next day. I understand how hard it is to get sleep. I am guilty of not doing this because I struggle to sleep for one reason or another, but you need it. And it seems kind of crazy when you first hear that. You're like, well, I'm trying to build muscle. I need to go to the gym and train. But no, as we'll talk about later on, when you're in the gym, you're breaking the muscle down. The growth comes through rest and recovery, and a huge part of that is sleep. So that's something you can do right now. Maybe you're a 4, 5, 6 hour guy. Just try, if possible, to knock that up to 7 and obviously the optimal 8. And your body will grow and you will build muscle and then you will be happy. Which also ties into number 6, make sure you're recovering as much as you can. What I mean by that is don't go to the gym every single day. And especially when you are first starting out, if you think you need to give yourself a couple of extra days rest before you're going back to the gym, this is okay. If you still think your body is worn out or whatever you want to call it, or you've broken the muscle down and it's still repairing, you can take that little bit of extra time and that will just get harder and harder. And at first you'll get DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness, straight away, and then it will vanish and you'll seek DOMS every single damn day of your life like you're hunting bear. Don't hunt bear, that's not cool. Bears are awesome. But yeah, it's rest and recovery does not get sold about enough. It's always take this supplement or make sure you're lifting this way or make sure you're doing that way. Of course you need to do all of that stuff, but you absolutely have to be allowing your body to get back to as close to 100% as possible. So yeah, you can start again. That's what going to the gym is. It's a constant cyclical thing, which is kind of nuts when you think about it. You break it down, it recovers. You break it down, it recovers, and so on and so forth. So make sure you're getting enough sleep. Make sure you're resting and recovering, and really do listen to your body. There's a reason your body hurts, and there's a reason you have pain receptors. It's so, again, you can listen to it and not make your situation any worse. Number 5 is when you are in the gym, make sure you are balancing the weight you are lifting with your form. Now, I will always tell you 100% of the time, form is more important than weight, but that's also doing you a little bit of a disservice because obviously the stronger you are, the bigger you are going to get 9 times out of 10. So start with form. You always work there. Try and get to that 12 to 14 rep range if you can to achieve hypertrophy or whatever that stupid word is I can't pronounce and I hate it so much because everyone comes at me in the comments. Make sure you're doing that, but also making sure you're trying to lift as strong as possible. Now, of course, if you want to be more of a power lifter or a strong man, then sure, you want to get into those super low rep ranges, sort of 2, 3, 4 reps, even your 1 rep maxes. But if you want to look good and you want your muscles to grow, you have to make sure you have this kind of a balance. So you hear it all the time with other things. People go, oh, it's like 75% diet and 25% training. You're like, well, that's kind of true, but you need both. In terms of importance, they're both as important as the other. It's like chicken or egg. You're not going to get big unless you go to the gym, and you're also not going to get big if your diet's not right and your nutrition's not on. So make sure you're doing both of them. Again, we always want to find ways to cut corners. That's why people say that, focus on your diet. No, you need to be intense, quote unquote, with your diet. You need to be intense with your training. So yeah, make sure that you're doing the form, make sure that you're trying to get stronger. And if you do that, again, after a long ass time, because again, it takes a long ass time, you will see progress. And number 4 is another back-to-back one, because you got to be doing progressive overload. We don't even have to spend a long time on this. People run it into the ground, I find. It just means every single week you're making sure you do a little bit more than you did last week. So if you're bicep curling 10 kilograms for 12, next week, make sure you do it for 13 reps. Or maybe you go up to 11 kilograms or 12 kilograms. You just do incremental increases so you know that your body is always going to be headed in the right direction, because it stands to reason. If on day 1, you do 12 reps of bicep curls for 10 kilograms, and then next week, you do 10 reps for 11 kilograms, or, essentially, you pushed it forward a little bit, that must be your body telling you something. So always write stuff down in a notebook. Always make sure you know where you've been, and always make sure you know where you're going to go. Having a plan in lifting weights, bodybuilding, going to the gym, whatever, is essential. Number 3 is make sure you get in your fruit and veg. And it's a bit of a weird one to say, but if you're not healthy and you're not feeling fit, how the hell are you going to be able to go to the gym and feel motivated to work out. And the reason I really double down on this is because fruit is a bad word in the fitness community because of fructose, which apparently is some kind of evil sugar that's going to sneak into your room at night and steal all your toys. But it's not. I mean, you shouldn't overeat anything, not just fruit, but don't overeat fruit. And just make sure you get in as many vegetables as possible because they're good for you. That's why you have health bodies telling you make sure you get your 5 a day. And I think that's actually been increased now. And I would say if you are lifting weights, you probably want to do more. You're trying to get your body to an optimal place. Make sure you eat loads of fruit. Make sure you eat loads of veg. Again, never forget it's called health and fitness. Health. That's the most important word. You're supposed to feel good. Number 2, again, similar to that, make sure you drink water because if you are not hydrated, your muscles aren't going to be hydrated and then they're going to struggle to grow as well. You are 80% water or some nonsense figure like that. So if you're not getting enough water in, again, how can you be performing at the level that you want to do? If you go to the gym, don't ever do this, but for example, if you ever went to the gym properly dehydrated, your workout is going to suck compared to when you go in there and feeling proper hydrated. And yes, when you do increase your water at first, you'll be going to the toilet all the time, but it balances out. Your body does get used to it. So in short, you're doing that. I'm not going to give you a certain amount to drink in a day because it's going to be different, but just never get to the point when you go, oh, I feel thirsty. That way, you're already dehydrated when you've had that thought. So figure out what you have to drink in order to not get there, and you'll be smashing it. And number 1, we've said it before, we've said it again, but in case you're brand new to the channel, because I guess it's a very evergreen title, be consistent. That is the number 1 way to ensure that your muscles grow. Take all the information that you can get on my channel, on the internet, and other people's channel, but be consistent with it. Don't give up after a week. Don't give up after a month. Don't give up after 6 months. I would say you want to give something a proper year, and you will see change within that. Of course you will. But if you're genuinely serious about this, keep it going, and eventually it'll just become part of your lifestyle anyway. But then when you do start seeing the evolution that you so desire, you'll be motivated to continue. But don't expect it to happen overnight. You've got to keep doing it and doing it and doing it. I don't want to put too much of a Debbie Downer on it, but I started training when I was 16, and I don't think I saw any real changes until I got to 19, 20. And admittedly, a huge part of that is because I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and I was making it up as I went along. But you may be in that boat too. You may be in that boat right now. Maybe you've been doing it for a couple of years or even 6 months, but because you haven't implemented other things, you aren't where you need to be. But now at least you have that kind of a base. You have that kind of, routine with it all. You just need to add in all these little things. But yes, be consistent. Consistency is really the key to life, and it's absolutely the key with the gym. There you go. Done. Easy. We can now put that topic to bed. Now someone will point out that I've probably done it 32 times. Well, I think it's still really important, and I like videos like this. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, ding, ding, ding. Just go in the description. There's Instagram, Twitter, Patreon, merchandise, all these things you can do to help support the channel as well. Click a video that's on the screen right now, and that little circle subscriber thing too. That would help you out. But otherwise, I will see you soon.